Hey guys, welcome to the Weight Loss by Pete podcast. I'm Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist. This is being simulcast on my daily vlog on YouTube, as well as obviously on my podcast, which you're ingesting either on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Today we're going to talk about why talk is cheap and why you need to take action instead. Obviously, this is more so in reference to your health and your weight loss goals, as this is a health and weight loss related channel. Now, the reason that this came up is because I've had quite a few inquiries into working with me since the 1st of January. Obviously, so many New Year's resolutionists every single year, what's their number one goal? It's to lose weight, number one. And then for some, it's to get healthier. But usually it's to lose weight, and getting healthy is just part of that process. And unfortunately, and this is a very recent revelation that I had, and I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out. This is the year that I will be turning 30 after all, but a lot of people talk a big game, especially when it comes to losing weight. They'll go into it, they'll have a plan. They'll reach out to someone to try and help them, whether it's myself, whether it's a personal trainer or a dietitian or a nutritionist or whatever in their area. And they'll go through everything they need to do in order to start. And sometimes they will even start. And this is something that happens with me quite frequently. Unfortunately, 2 or 3 weeks into the program and into the process, they'll realize something that is exemplified very, very well by someone named Grant Cardone. He's a guy in the entrepreneurial business space, also in real estate. And while I'm not a big fan of the 24/7, 365 hustle mentality, I am a fan of one of his books called the 10X Rule. And the main tenet of the 10X Rule is that whatever goal you set out, so in this case, to lose weight this year and to get healthier, whatever goal you set out is going to be 10 times tougher, take 10 times more work, and take 10 times longer than what you originally anticipated. And I feel that's what happens to a lot of New Year's resolutionists. They'll get on the bandwagon, they'll be motivated, or at least they'll think they're motivated, they'll think they'll have a plan, but then when they start taking action, they start realizing, this isn't nearly as easy as I thought, they'll fall off. One of the main reasons that people stop working with me, and a lot of people in my industry, is because they can't commit. I used air quotes there in case you're listening. For whatever the reason, whether it's due to they say, oh, I got too much going on at work, I got too much going on at home, in their family life, whatever. And that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, your health is your biggest asset. If you're overweight, you can become obese, which is a chronic condition. Another chronic condition that's very common amongst folks who are either overweight or obese is type 2 diabetes, another chronic condition. And that in and of itself can be fatal. But those two chronic conditions specifically are gateway diseases to more serious life-threatening conditions like heart disease, various forms of cancer, and neurological conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. So your health is your biggest asset, and you may think that you've got a lot on your plate, but if you don't have your health in order, then my friend, you are going to lead a very, very, very poor quality of life, no matter how hard you focus on everyone and everything else going on in it. So my message to you today is very, very simple. If you want to improve your quality of life, if you want to lose weight, if that's truly something you want, then you have to go into it knowing what I said before. It's going to take 10 times the amount of time, 10 times the amount of effort in order for you to reach that goal. Look, I've heard what got me into doing this for other people, being a permanent weight loss specialist and helping people lose weight for good in the first place. And I thought early on in my journey, because the first 4 months, I lost 40 pounds. So I was averaging 10 pounds a month. And I thought, okay, inside of a year, I'm going to lose my 100 pounds because I'm averaging 10 pounds a month and I'll be good. And sadly, it didn't happen. I plateaued for 3 years after that. So through the end of my college tenure, because I put this weight on during my sophomore year, my second year of college, through into the workforce. And it took a lot of research, took a lot of trial and error, and more than anything, it took a lot of dedication and tenacity. Imagine going 3 years, not 3 days, not 3 weeks, not even 3 months, but 3 years without seeing a sizable change on the scale, without seeing a change in your clothing size, without seeing either for yourself or by friends and family members who see you, a change in how you look. Imagine going 3 years with like no change. That's what happened to me. And yes, of course, I'm human. I would take time to lick my wounds after a while if I went long and hard. And at the time, I just thought eat less, exercise more. So I'd reduce my calories and portions and increase my physical output, and nothing would happen. So I'd lick my wounds through the use of booze and junk food for a few weeks, and then I'd get back on the horse and I'd examine what I was doing, and I'd try to find something else that worked. And it took 3 years before I flipped my thinking about nutrition on its head. And instead of worrying about portion size and calorie counts, I was worrying more so about food quality. What foods am I eating? Where should I avoid, like grains, sugars, and processed junk? So when I took that stuff out and I started focusing on quality, the scale started moving again. My body composition changed. Everything improved. And then it was like the floodgates opened. And then I started worrying about other things like macronutrient ratios, and more specifically eating a lipolytic, which is a sciencey way of saying fat burning diet. And then I lost 100 pounds. I mean, still, it took a few years after that. It took me, like I said, about 6 years to lose 100 pounds. So it wasn't a fast, easy, simple process. It took a lot of tenacity, a lot of research, a lot of trial and error, self-experimentation. And through that time, too, I started getting certified, first as a personal trainer, thinking maybe there was something in there that could help me. Then I would get other certifications in other areas of fitness. And it was 3 or 4 years into my journey before I realized that fitness is the least important component of losing weight and getting healthy. In fact, nutrition on the physical side is by far the most important thing. If you don't have your nutrition in place, you're going to have the best exercise program in the world, but you're never going to see the results that you want. So it took me, like I said, a long time. Fortunately, if you guys are finding this video or you're finding this podcast, you have me in the description below. There's a link to download my free report, details the 5 strategies that I personally used to lose 100 pounds and keep them off, so you don't have to go into this blind. Or perhaps you are going into this blind because you've tried a bunch of different things and nothing really worked, or nothing at least was sustainable. The stuff in that report is all stuff that you can start doing today for free. And guess what? All of it is applicable to your life right now. And it's something you can continue to sustain well into the future. So I want you to check that out. So if you guys found this informative, do me one final favor. If you don't want the report, just subscribe to my channel, whether it's here on YouTube if you're watching, or on my podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. I'm Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist. I'm signing off for the weekend. I'll be back at you on Monday, January 22nd. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll talk to you then.